Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to take a look at Flamme Rouge. This game is published by Stronghold Games, and it's a 2 to 4 player game where you're simply trying to have one of your racers get to the finish line first. So let's go ahead down the table. I'll give you a general overview of how the game plays, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so this is Flamme Rouge. The goal of Flamme Rouge is to get your racer across the finish line. First person to do that wins. Now, to start the game, you're going to pick one of these setups. So there's going to be one of these stages here. You're going to pick it up and you're going to set it up as it shows on here. There's all letters, sorry. So they're all lettered. And there's two different sides of each of these tracks. There's a black side and a white side. So you just put them appropriately on there and set up that. Once you've picked your stage that you want to race on, each player is going to pick their color, and then they're going to place out their bicyclist in turn order. And each player is going to get a, I don't even know how to say the R one, but you're going to get a sprinter, and then you're going to get basically your blocker or guy that doesn't go quite as fast. So you're going to get those cards. And what you're going to do throughout the game is simultaneously everyone's going to pick either their S or their R. They're going to draw 4 cards. You're going to pick one of these, and they're going to have all different numbers on here. And this is how far the bicyclist could potentially go. You're going to pick one, place it face down, take these cards, and place them on the bottom of the deck face up. Once you get to that, you'll know to reshuffle your deck. After you do that, then you're going to draw the 4 cards and the other deck that you didn't have select yet. You're going to look at your numbers on here, and you're going to pick one and place it face down. Then you'll do the same thing with this deck. Once every player has done that, then everyone's going to flip their cards, and each of the leaders that haven't moved yet are going to go. Now, with red out front, let's say red went 4 spaces. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one's in front, so they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say they did a 5. Black will go. We'll get, and they picked here and here. Green will go, and they ended up here, and mine was a 3, so this would go up. Actually 4, but it would be blocked by them, so it stop, and then this one move up 3. So now what's going to happen is we're going to see if any of them are going to slipstream. So what's going to happen now is if there's exactly one space between a group of riders and another group or a single person, they're going to move up. So it's going to go from the back to the front. So these guys moved up. Now there's one space to here. This clump all moves up together, so they slipstreamed, and they got extra movement out of that. Now, then you're going to check to see if there's a space in front of the group or an individual rider, and if they are, they're going to get an exhaustion card for that. So this one's the sprinter, so you're going to put this exhaustion card into their deck, which is a 2 speed, which will slow them down in the future. And the more of these you get, the more it clogs up your deck. Now, if we had 2 spaces in between these 2 clumps right here, then this person would also get an exhaustion card. Or if we had something like this, these all would get exhaustion cards. So you don't want to get exhaustion cards, and you want to try to slipstream as much as possible to push yourself forward. You don't need to have both racers cross the line, just one. So you can do tactics like have one of your racers stay together here, race ahead as much as you can, have this guy take all the exhaustion, and then scoot up your other one to pass up later on. However, you have to keep in mind too that as soon as you do that, you won't make it all the way to the end. You're going to start grabbing exhaustion cards for the other player, and you don't necessarily get as much of a slipstream benefit, which you could try to work out a little bit, as the other players. So it's just one strategy of many to push your guy forward. And some things weird can happen too, where players will want to use their lower cards, so they get all clumped up at the beginning of the game. You don't necessarily want that, so you may actually push yourself ahead to the lead of the pack, just because you don't want that to happen. And you can go past the cyclists. It's just if you land on a spot with the cyclist, you're going to go you're going to go back that many. So that, in a nutshell, is all there is to Flamme Rouge. There's going to be a couple different track effects that happen through the different ones you pick. The big ones are going to be going up and down hills. Like this one, it takes away 5 from your speed. This one, if you start on going down the hill, you're going to add 5 to your speed. So you're going to maybe want to do the downhill portion. When you hit that, you'll play your exhaustion cards, and you're going to get 5 no matter what. So you can get rid of that out of your hand and not worry about it. And one thing, if I didn't mention, is once this card is played, this is out of the game actually. So these get removed from the game. So as you're going through, you're going to be selecting cards to play, and they get removed from the game as you go. Now, I will mention that if you numerically add up the decks on either of these, there's a good bit more than you need to actually cross the finish line. But you have to keep in mind that you're going to be getting exhaustion cards, which is going to clog up your deck and limit your options in there and slow you down significantly. So you have to have some form of strategy to deal with that and try not to get those exhaustion cards. So you will probably want to try to figure out how to travel as a pack as much as possible at the beginning, at least, to negate that as much as you can. So let's go ahead back up to the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on Flamme Rouge. Okay, I like Flamme Rouge. Flamme Rouge is pretty fun. I like the thought that you have to put in, and you have to think of what other players are going to do, so you can try to stay with the pack for a little bit. How long do you want to stay with the pack? Who knows? I might want to push ahead, but do I want to do it early or late, because I don't really want to get a lot of those exhaustion cards. There's a lot of things to think about in the game, and the variability in the game. There's lots of tracks that you can pick from to rearrange, and I'm sure that you can make your own tracks, no problem, on there if you wanted. So there's a lot of things to think about in the game itself, and your opponents change the game every time. How they do their strategy really affects how you do your strategy. So there is a ton of replayability in the game itself. The components, the bicyclists themselves, I think were not good. So they're really hard to tell which one is which from a glance. You have to really look at it. And also, I kept having the bicyclists fall off of the bike molds. So component quality is okay for this game. The board's fine. The cards are fine. It's the little cyclist models that are a problem in it. So that's okay. I wouldn't really. It doesn't detract too much from the game itself, but it is something that was, a problem for me in the game itself. Also, I'm not sure how often this is going to get played. It's sort of one of those games we played a couple times. It's okay, and then it might be a little while before we play it again. However, I do think a lot of people will find a lot of enjoyment with this game. Myself, I will be playing it occasionally. So just in that, it's worth the cost of the game for me. So that's my thoughts on Flamme Rouge. Thank you for watching.